Okay, we are now recording. So this is the DNA workshop using Charting Companion. I'll just kind of go over the basics of doing it and then leave it open for questions. There's a lot of nitty gritty parts you have to do, and but once you get your head wrapped around it, it's pretty easy to maintain. And as you get new matches, okay, and my computer is deciding to act funky. Okay, here we go. Yeah, now I've opened up 10 windows. Okay, let me start by sharing my screen. Okay, this is, if you've seen any of my videos, you're probably familiar with Clarence Benjamin Hall. He's my great-grandfather. Now, let me just start getting to me. When you are to work with the DNA, you first have to, well, have your tree, obviously. I'm using Family Tree Maker, but you can use Roots Magic. You can even use Ancestry with the GEDCOM. You have to create these DNA facts. I use DNA Kit. You can also use DNA markers. You can use one of those two facts. And then you're going to have an identifier for everyone in your tree. So here's how Ancestry knows me. This is how MyHeritage. These are two kits I've got on GEDmatch. This is Family Tree DNA. And this is also 23andMe now, because I've done one of those tests. You got to have an identifier for everyone. So it's like, so that's for me. You know, this is my mom. Now, where these numbers come from is wherever you get the match files from. This is like an Ancestry number. I use a tool, DNA Match Manager. It's from the Heirloom software, who's no longer in business, but their utility does still work. And you will get a match file. It'll say like Match Manager export, and then usually like the date and time. Well, here's the one I use for GEDmatch, and then I split it out by names. I've got a little utility. You know, that opens up the kit that splits them out by name. So here, this AN source test ID, this is how Ancestry knows me. This number is repeated everywhere on my list. This is how Ancestry knows me. So this number I copy into my field right here. So, and you can add whatever facts you want just by customizing the view. So I add that DNA kit back there, just so it's easy to copy and paste. And then likewise, well, this first list, this is my mom. So she's at C517B. And so there's that C517B, blah, blah, blah. And now I've put in all my known ancestors, and I've created this filter and color coded it. So anyone here with this cyan here has a DNA kit fact. And I'll show you kind of why I do that once I actually create the chart. But this DNA kit fact is how it can associate people in this match file to people in your tree. That this is your link right here, this DNA kit fact. Whoops. And then the first thing is to make sure you get a valid kit or a valid chart. So here, if I do a DNA matrix, let me just add in the MyHeritage one or the Ancestry ones. I can just select all of them. Yeah, you can have lots of kits. Have it show the probability right here. And the first thing it does is it goes through your kit and tries to find everyone with a DNA kit fact. Now it's loading the match files and seeing who all matches. And then it creates this chart. And if there's ever a parent and child, like here you can see Blair and Preston, this is why I color code. You know, so you kind of have to move them out of the way, because as you move and stuff. So here it's like I'll move this, my sister and niece, my brother and niece. I'll just move it over there. You know, so you can just go through. Now you can see I do have some red. So I would have to work on that. Here's another parent-child.
So
Go ahead.
are the red estimates then, or where they're guessing it fits?
Well, no. This right here is how my tree actually is.
Okay.
And they're saying, okay, this is not a valid match for it. So it probably indicates my tree is not 100% accurate.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually working with Pierre because I'm actually thinking this is an outlier, because matches from other sites, they're kind of contradicting, because it's like some other stuff, but to use a simulator, you cannot have any red. So you either eliminate these matches from your match file if you are sure they're correct, or yeah, because see 68.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, see, it's on the low end. It's like a 1% probability. So it is.
John,
Yeah.
the numbers like where your cursor is. Okay,
Yeah.
the number 25 and all right, 14 and minus or dash 353. That's
Yeah.
the range that fits in.
Yeah, that's the range.
What about the 122? What's
That's
that?
the average. So second
Okay.
cousins once removed will typically match about 122. And if you click on it, it will give you this histogram. And this is that DNA Painter. I highly recommend this site. So.
And the histogram gives the percentages of what the relationship might be.
Yeah, you know, because you should always have a typical bell curve. You're always going to have someone, majority, like 70% should be, you know, within like these
bars, yeah.
The 2,500.
Yeah, within these, you know. So if you look at it, you know, and this is a very typical bell curve, however, but you're always going to have outliers on both ends.
Okay.
So, and my tree is also, there's some there is some endogamy coming on here. I don't have it all documented, and that is also something Pierre is going to be working on a future release, is where people are related in multiple ways. This one doesn't show it because they tested at MyHeritage, but on this Halverson line, two of his brothers married two women and they're half sisters. So their children they're almost like double cousins. So that throws some things off. But let me just go down the line here and do a descendancy. So this is just reduced down. So, you know, ideally you want something like this where everything is typical, or, you know, there is no red.
Okay.
So, and this is the first killer, is you have to be able to get, so you can create a DNA matrix chart. If you can't get a DNA matrix chart, then you don't even bother doing the simulator, because everything is based on creating a DNA matrix chart. Are there any questions on this right now?
What if you know that two half cousins are deaf and they're in red, their centimorgans are very low and they're red, and that you know that they're from a different mother?
Yeah, if you're absolutely sure of the relationship right now, you either have to manually adjust the relationship by modifying the match file and tweaking the number, or you just eliminate that match if for the purposes of
Simulator.
the simulator.
Okay.
So
one question. So since you can't use it, endogamy screws it up, you can't use it on French Canadian ancestry at all?
well, if you got like a lot of it, see, I don't have a lot. I've got probably just enough to throw it in. There is an endogamy adjustment here. So if you know everything is like elevated, you can put in like a value of, say, you know, 1.5. And I think at 1.5, it's going to reduce it. It's basically going to divide all the numbers by 1.5. So let's see, this granddaughter 1662, that if I preview, that should probably drop it down to about it keeps the numbers, but yeah, it really throws off stuff now, because now it's saying, okay, that's not possible. And this close, it's not. A two would basically reduce the numbers in half. One basically means no adjustment. So this is something where you would have to tweak it with. You can do this endogamy adjustment. So, but that's going to be more of a play and deal with, so everything comes out. Now let me close out of this. Now, when you use a simulator, now for this, I'm going to get to my this is my uncle's wife. Through it, we found out through who her father is through DNA, something like her mom never told her. But now we do have a group of 4 unknown matches. Yeah, this Mona. I created this tree, and if you can see up here, it's saying no direct relationship. So this is what's called a floating tree within my tree. Because I found this Mona and Sharon, and then they each got a daughter, Cheryl, and Sharon's got a daughter, Kathy. And I contacted them because I had these four unknown matches, and it asked, do you know how you're related to each other? Well, I found out that, yeah, Mona and Sharon are half sisters. They share this common father, Peter Melanch. And then Cheryl and, here, this will probably be easier. Yeah, so Mona and Sharon, they're half sisters, and then Cheryl and Kathy are their daughters. So I know how my aunt matches these 4, and I know how these 4 are related to each other. But I don't know how they fit into my tree. So, and likewise with everyone else, with Mona, it's like there's her DNA kit. That's how Ancestry knows her. That's how Ancestry knows Cheryl, Sharon and Kathy. And this Peter is the common ancestor.
John,
Yeah.
do you keep a separate DNA kit from your regular kit or your regular family tree maker? Is it better to do that, or is it better to keep it on the common one?
I'm not following.
Should I make a separate tree?
No. Well, you can if you're doing like the research, but when you want to do the simulator, they have to be in the same tree.
Okay.
You know, like I initially built out this tree like as a research tree.
Okay.
But to use the simulator, they've got to be in the same tree. And likewise, it said there's no direct in ancestor and family tree maker, you can just start by saying add and do add unrelated person.
Thanks.
And then, you know, just build from there. Or if you've done the research tree, you can import it in and just say, okay, it's not attached to anyone. So I'm starting with, okay, so here's my, I gotta get back to pedigree view. Okay, so I know these relationships are on her father's side. So I'm going up to his father, and this William Watson had a name change. So that's why, but he was born that Zamolinsky. So I'm gonna start with one of these parents and as the common ancestor. And so, okay, so let me start up charting companion. And like I said beforehand, I'm gonna start doing just the preview here, just to make sure that there's no red. And there isn't, I mean, there's not too much here, you know. That's her half brother, and then this, well, first cousin once removed, so. So this is all fine. Now to use the simulator now, you're still going to be doing this DNA matrix, but now in this DNA simulator. And now here you can start playing with, I usually stick with the normal defaults. This max generations, you have to take into account, okay, we're starting up from here. So we go down, okay, here the spouses are down below. So Fred married Pauline. so here's the first generation, here's the second generation, third generation, fourth generation. So you want to make sure you cover enough generations to get down to the people that have actually taken the test. And then it's important to have the check insert people, because this way this can insert spouses, siblings, you know, or unknown people. Hold on, I think, yeah, my internet cut out there for a second, so it lets you insert unknown people with this insert people. And now here it says, okay, person to be placed. Now, I'm not gonna place that Mona or Sharon, because then I'd only be trying to place that one person. I want to try to place all four of them. So I gotta go with their common ancestor.
Oh,
that-
okay.
So that's that Peter,
Yeah.
how is that? Oh, here it is. Peter Lynch. So their common father, that's the common person to all of them. So that's where I'm gonna, even though I don't have his DNA, I mean, this person is, I believe this person's been long gone. So, but this is who I'm telling it to place. And then you just kick form simulation. So here it's just running through the simulations. And then it's gonna come up with a web page. And this one I know shouldn't take too terribly long. Yeah. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, okay, there's 66 scenarios. Okay, so that's a lot.
Huh.
But this is kind of how it shows. Okay, so here's Fred. Okay, so here they're trying to place this Peter as basically the grandson of her son Cheek. Well, we know
That can't happen.
that can't be. I mean, here Mona was born in 1924, Cheek was born 1957. Okay, this is not even valid. I mean, and we could go through. And so to kind of get rid of these obvious ones, I'm gonna close this. Let's go back to that. Here, I think I've got him in a, no, I don't. Hang on a second, let me just do that. No. Let me just add. Okay, so, okay, Mona was born 1924, so I'm gonna say Peter was, say, born 1900. You know, that's just an approximate. I mean, he could have been a little older, could have been a little younger. But this is gonna give us, just by putting in an estimated date, this is going to definitely,
Eliminate.
yeah. It's gonna get rid of those,
Crazy scenarios.
yeah. So now if we go in here, run the DNA simulator. Yeah, in this chart folder documents, this is where it goes. Let's see, DNA matrix. So now I'll run the perform simulation. Okay, now it came up with 0. Okay, that didn't work. That didn't work. Yeah, see, this is what I did. I did this like 2 months ago, and So that's Fred and Peter. Oh, no, I know what it is. No, okay. They're basically saying, okay, it's not a descendant of Fred. So I'm going to add a parent.
Hmm.
And now no, and this could actually be Zamolinsky or Marichek, because it could be a parent of either one of these,
Okay.
you know. So it could be a parent of Fred's parent, or it could be Pauline's parents.
Parent.
So, but you know, for this thing, so now I'm going to run it from here. So now the simulator, it still remembers the same one. Now if we run the simulation, and it's going through. Yep, there we go. Okay.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm just scrolling down to the bottom here. So, okay, we've got 6 scenarios.
Oh,
Okay, so, so
so
here's
287 up here.
well, this was simulation 287.
Oh, of the times you've gone
Yeah,
through this.
288,
Okay.
89, 92. See, it literally tries to put in as many people as possible.
Okay.
And so these are the simulations it went through, and these are the ones that are valid.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so this one is showing, okay, with this inserted person, okay, so this is a sibling of Fred, and we also know that could also be a sibling of Pauline's. So Peter could be a nephew of Fred or Pauline. And so, you know, so these values make sense then, you know, as a second cousin once removed to my Aunt Jan. You know, and here's, okay, they answered 2 people. So basically Peter could be a grandson of that. I mean, this one's probably not too terribly likely, but you never know. I mean, I know people were, I mean, my father has a sister 17 years younger than he is. Another
That's
friend of
your
mine,
father.
you know, she's the youngest of 4, and her oldest brother is 22 years older than she is. So I mean,
It happens.
yeah, it happens. But I mean, I'd say this is less likely, but you know, and especially this one, where this one is a great grandson of one of them. So this one is probably even more or less likely. Okay, so now here Peter is basically a half sibling to Fred or Pauline. And then here's where it's like a half, he'd be a half nephew to one of those 2. And then likewise a half grandnephew. So like I said, this one, okay, is probably less likely. You know, I would say, you know, okay, either this is the likely one or this one is, you know, but at least here you're kind of down to basically 2 scenarios, so you can know where to concentrate your research. And likewise, if you would, you know, find other siblings of known siblings, and then possibly they've DNA tested, you know, and if you could get access to theirs, like this Terrence, for instance, I'd love to get access to his DNA results. But on Ancestry, it's like, I mean, I've contacted them and, you know, I've gotten no response. So, but it's like, if I could find out how Terrence matched these four, that could probably eliminate some of these possibilities. Or even this Tesla, you know, and stuff, but, or even this Bill Watson, her half brother. But, I mean, you can only work with what you got, but at least does narrow down the possibilities, so. And if you start doing research, you know, you might be able to find out, you know, where Zamolinsky, no, maybe, you know, and this inserted person, it's marked blue, but I mean, this could easily be a sister too. So maybe you'd found a Zamolinsky that married a Malinch, or Marashuk married a Malinch, you know, so.
Or maybe they didn't immigrate. Or
Yeah,
immigrated later under a different name.
yeah, you know, who
I mean, we're
knows?
dealing with Eastern Europeans here.
Yeah,
and-
for all I know, Marachuk became Malinch or something, you know,
Yeah.
it's, you know, but like I said, it at least gives you a ballpark of where to start researching. So. Let me close that down. So that in a nutshell is how that works. Are there any questions? I mean, there's a lot to it, but like I said, it's getting that first DNA matrix down first.
So
John, this is Harriet.
Yeah.
Quick question.
Mhm.
First time I've seen any of this, so your presentation was good, but I need to go back and review and read and understand and get a better idea of the scope. But I just wanted to know, this is all using autosomal DNA, not Y or MT.
Correct. This is all autosomal.
Thank you.
So.
So how did you get, I'm new to this too.
Yeah.
So if I'm off base for this discussion,
No.
I understand. I'll get there another way. So did you put them in, all those DNA connections in your tree in individually?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just go
because-
through and find that identifier.
Yeah, you find the identifier and then you just put that as a DNA kit fact. And so,
Okay.
yeah, you have to do that manually, person by person. You know, you start with the ones you know,
Okay.
and then the other ones where you start doing research, and maybe with some of the tools, you know, can make it easier, you know, with the through lines. I mean, you still got to verify the through lines because
Right.
they're based on other people's tests, but
And that identifier will be with whoever they tested with.
right. And if you manually create the text file, the match file, which you can, well, then the identifier can be whatever you want it to be.
Oh,
Because you can, here, I'll just go share my screen again. Because on this match file, like, I've done some like, let me just, don't save that.
Would you create your own one if you were bringing people in from different sources then, you know, from GEDmatch and from Family Tree DNA? Is that where you would combine them then into the one CSV file?
Yeah, you could. I mean, you can load up, you can load up multiple CSV files too.
Okay.
You know, here is one, you know, where it's like I was helping someone that posted something in one of the like genealogy groups and was wondering. And so, I mean, here, this is basically what they told me. Christine married Robert Jr., or matched Robert Jr. at 581. Christine matched Sally at 637. You know, so it's like, yeah, so here's what kit 1 is, here's what kit 2 is. So when I put these people in a tree and I just did a sample tree, you know, it's like, okay, I just put Christina's the DNA kit back, you know. Because, you know, here I just manually entered in the files. And I mean, I've even got one, let me go back to the heirloom, because yeah, this Hank one. Because this is one where I basically relied on some cousins of mine as to how they matched other people. And so since these were ancestries, I had a copy of what their test IDs were. But basically here is one I just manually created. So my cousin Henry matches this Julie. I mean, we've been trying to place how she fits into our tree. And then, oh, this name's wrong, but anyway, it's like, been trying to place how these match. And I mean, I've just been throwing these in just as other people match other people and loaded
So
in.
for
So,
John,
yeah.
so for instance, if I had my first cousin and the two people I'm trying to, you know, find a common ancestor with, if I make a list like this, it might help.
Well, I just did this just to bring into Charting Companion.
Okay.
The easiest way is if they can give you viewer on Ancestry, if they can grant you viewer access, then you can download the match data with
I manage my first cousin and my aunt.
Yeah.
So I've got their DNA. It's the other two, the mother and the daughter, that I'm trying to figure out where they fit in.
Yeah.
John, you mentioned the DNA match manager. If I'm taking it that's not downloadable now, then you said that's no longer.
I can actually provide a link to it. Let me. I lowered the resolution of my screen, so it shuffled up my screens. Well, here I'm gonna go into the chat. Now this is only available. Well, somewhere there was a Mac version of this. I don't have the Mac version. I'm
Okay,
not a Mac user, so I never downloaded it.
Right.
You're the same.
So I've only got the Windows version of it.
That's what I use.
So I'm putting in the chat link. It's from my Dropbox, so you can download it. So even if you are a Mac user, if you've got like an emulator like Parallels, or if you got a Windows machine,
Nope.
Yeah, maybe.
you can do it. Otherwise, you can do the DNA GEDCOM client. You can just search for it. That does work under Windows and Mac, but now that is a paid utility. It's like $5 a month or $50 a year. But that will download them too.
Yeah, that's what I use, John. This is Jim.
Oh,
I use DNA GEDCOM client. I update my CSV files every 3 or 4 months and just take out a 1-month subscription at $5 and do that occasionally.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I like the DNA Match Manager just because I was using DNA GEDCOM client, but I've got like 27 kits. And it would literally take me a week to download them all because it will only do one, and then, you know, invariably, you know, it ends, you know, an hour or two after you've gone to bed or left for work or something like that. So it's spending a lot of time just sitting doing nothing.
Yeah, I've got 12 kits that I manage, and it takes me most of a day to download the CSVs for all of them.
Yeah. So where the DNA Match Manager, you can select them all and it will just download them all. So, so for me, it's a time saver. So, but, and like I said, if I ever do find someone that's got the Mac installer, I'll put it on my Dropbox. But
Okay. Thank you.
I've tried looking and just haven't found it. So, and really, like, Ancestry is the only one that you really do need it. The DNA Match Manager, I do like downloading from GEDmatch too. It's just quicker. You can like copy and paste it into a spreadsheet, you know, which works. And I still do that for some of, to find out how some of my cousins match they're on GEDmatch, and to see how they match everyone else, it's like I'll click on theirs, and then those I will have to copy and paste into a spreadsheet. But
So if you don't make a spreadsheet, you have to have one of these DNA match manager or something like that. Is that
right. Yeah, because the match file has to be in a CSV file format, which stands for comma separated values.
Mhm. They are right now, but how do you, I don't understand how, I'm way back getting it from the fact note to the charting companion. So how do you get it from the fact note to the charting companion?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Let me share my screen again. Okay, so once you've got the match file and you've put in that, when you select the DNA matrix, you select the match files. So here they are right here. So you just click the add button, you go to where you've got it saved on your
Oh, okay.
computer. So here's some, like, you know, there, and then boom, it loads it up. And if it, now there it says user defined, because since I copied it, I had a, well, here, let me just remove that. I know I've got one. Oh, hold on, let me.
So do you need that match manager then, or if you've got this?
Well, I use it for Ancestry.
Okay.
For MyHeritage, you can download them direct. 23andMe, you can download direct. Family Tree DNA, you can download direct. So you don't need any utility to download the match files.
Oh.
Now I will say one thing here. Let me go to MyHeritage. There's 2 match files you can download from MyHeritage. And MyHeritage has been pretty slow. It's been taking me about 20 hours to get the match files, where normally it takes about an hour. But you go to, okay, why? Yeah, this is doing this. Let me refresh. Yeah, here we go. Oh, yeah. You click on your DNA matches. And then here's where you download them. And now there's export entire DNA matches list, which is like your first instinct saying, hey, that's what I want. No, you don't. I mean, you can use that file, and Charting Companion, I believe Pierre told me that Charting Companion does support that file format now. But this one right here, export shared DNA segments, gives you a lot more detail, even though the file is smaller.
It's more useful.
Because this first one will just give you how much it's kind of like Ancestry. It's like, okay, you match, well, it's like your mom, my mom here. You match her at 3530.1, boom, and that's all it gives you. This one will give you how much you match on the per chromosome level. And the advantage of using that is, Here, I'm gonna, where did that go to? I don't want to uncheck that match file, so I'm just going into the settings to manually erase the charting companion files I got to get out. Well, actually, let me go up to. Oh, that didn't. Oh, okay. Maybe I had to get out of. I'll just uncheck these because I don't want. For right now, I don't want these to get in the way.
So you're only going to run this off of the MyHeritage stuff.
Yeah, the MyHeritage. Typically, I'll run it with all of them, but for these purposes,
Now, do you need some pretty close matches for that to really work then?
no, you just have to start it from a common ancestor. Because
Okay.
like I said, this one I've got lots, the other ones. But see now when you, yeah, come on. Dad over. Yeah, so now when I click on these matches, see now you see on the chromosome how me and my niece match. Here's how me and my sister match. Me and my other sister match. That's how me and my mother. Here's me and my half brother. That's what matching you on the chromosome level gives you. So it'll allow you to visually see where you match. And you can even go by, if I want to see, I want to click on, if I click on all my siblings, all my sisters, here's how much DNA all three of us, just the three of us have in common with each other. All three of us have this much DNA. So, and if we bring in my half brother, well, then it's less, but that's the DNA that all of us have in common. So,
What would you do with that then?
that's just kind of for visuals. I mean, it can be useful if you want to try to determine, how much DNA, if they want to try to, we'll say here, say if we go with my mother and her brother. Oh, sorry, yeah. He never tested that. MyHeritage, or, well, no, he's on there, but. Yeah, I don't know. We don't have his. Oh, yeah, that's there. So I'm not sure why that's not working because my mom and. Oh, yeah. Okay, I must have clicked on something wrong. It can help with DNA painting to try to figure out exactly what ancestors the DNA came from, but right now it's kind of like just a cutesy thing to play with. So, but. So. But like I said, but the chromosome, using the chromosome, if you ever have a choice, you know, always take the chromosome data. You know, it's just better. And it's also nice on 23andMe because 23andMe counts differently. Because I mean, here you'll see this 2673. Because there's fully identical and half identical. And it's kind of like they count everything twice. Or if you look at the centimorgans, it's going to say you match higher than everyone else. Let's see, I got this one's mine. DNA relatives. Oh yeah, I'm the only one on here, so this isn't a good test for me. Because a lot of times, if you have a sibling on here, it's going to say you match, you've got more centimorgans in common with them than you do your own parent. Because you've only got half theirs where, yeah, so this won't be a good test case because I'm the only one that's tested here. But to download from 23andMe, all you gotta do is scroll down here and say download aggregate data, and you can download it, so. But now when you look at that file, if you look at this, and see this is done by the chromosome level. You know, there is no, you know, there's no identifier as to whose test this is. You know, it's just, here's your contact's name and stuff. So when you load up that in Charting Companion, you can still use the match file. But then see, as opposed to say, like when I click on here, when I click on this kit 2 pops up. Here is basically saying, whose kit is this? Well, here I just type in my name, or this is, I make up an identifier. And that's what you'll put in your tree. So here I just said, well, John Fossburn, because I know that is in here. And so there's that identifier right there. Now I could have just used that one from my heritage, or I could have used that, but that's just easier to type, so. But it's like, so it's just however it's in the match file, that's how you gotta place the identifier.
You said that the identifier for Ancestry is either between the compare and the with or after the numbers.
I gotta look at it. Because it's the second, your number is the first number. The second number is what,
It's the person's number, okay.
yeah. So if you go on under the DNA matches. So here's this. So yeah, see, I don't know if you can see down here on the bottom.
Yep.
That's the link. So it says compare. See, there's that 31CC. That's my number with the C517BUC01.
So the second number is the person
Is the matches number. So, and so, yeah, so it's like if I find, say, oh, hey, here's a new match. You know, here's my niece Miranda. Usually I'll just copy this link location. Then let me go down here to Miranda. And then, you know, assuming there wasn't anything in here, then I just paste that URL, that URL, and then I basically just delete everything up to that, okay, from the width, and so there's her match number. So now when I download the match file, that number will already be there.
Okay, and the next question is when you run the, I think it's the matrix DNA,
Yeah,
and a kit comes that's wrong, what does that mean? Because, you know, you think you have the right ID DNA kit number in, is it just a matter of changing numbers around? You know,
Well-
like looking,
well, what error? Because I mean, you're either gonna get, like, it says it's gonna say found no matches. Because say, like, see here, if I run this from mine, it's gonna give an error message, because basically it's saying it can't find any matches.
okay, there was
Okay,
one,
it didn't.
other message that I found, because the kit numbers were like Sean and John, their kit match numbers were the same. It's because I put the wrong number in.
Yeah, that means you've got two people that have been assigned the same number.
Okay,
You know, because let me go into yeah, because see here, let me take Miranda's number here. And let me go to her cousin Echo. And I'll just replace that number. So Miranda and Echo now have the same number. So now when I run this, it's going to give me an error. It says, okay, error duplicate number. And here it's going to say Echo Jean Fossman or Miranda Marie, basically saying they got the same number.
okay, because I've come across just a few like that, and I've changed the number and it cleared it up.
Yeah.
How would you recommend I start with those two cousins where they're in my ancestry tree and they're connected to my ancestry tree as well as Family Tree Maker? What would you suggest if they're red centimorgans that come up when you run the DNA matrix? What can I do to further research that?
Okay, well, first off, if you're not 100% sure that's exactly where they fit, break that connection.
Yeah,
Break that connection. Only keep as much of that tree you're positive of, or they're positive of.
okay.
And then use that. So if you know what's up to their parent or grandparent, then try to place that grandparent, or as far up as as it's true, and then try to place that grandparent. It's like, hopefully your tree is as accurate as possible, and you only want to do that subtree where it's as accurate as possible.
Okay, because I've connected it to my tree because of, names that, come up as an option, reviewing the paperwork. But I'm still not 100% sure it's accurate. All right, I'll have to fool around with it.
Yeah, because by having them connected, when you run the DNA matrix, it's like, okay, I mean, you're basically manually doing what the DNA simulator does. And I mean, here, and it ran through what, almost 300 scenarios, and it can even run even more. Oh, speaking of the simulator, I've got mine going into my documents directory. Here's the file it creates, this DNA simulation, and then here are JPEGs. So here are the 6 simulations. So this is from my aunt. Now, there's one, so the nice thing is saying, okay, I think the simulation 287 is a possibility. And say 292. See, these graphics are these right here. So here's 292. If you just click on that, boom, there's that graphic. And there's 287. So you could actually take these images and then email them to your cousin or something, say, hey, here's how I think we might fit.
Okay, so if I disconnect her from my tree, from like
Yeah.
the most, where I have to find it where it's connected,
Yeah.
and that's hard to do, but I can reconnect it then.
Yeah, yes, then you can reconnect. So you
Okay.
said, okay, you know, so it's like, yeah, so say if this Maliant, say, found out, changed name and was, you know, a brother or something, or, you know, and who knows, maybe this, maybe she has a brother or half sibling, you know. I could
Okay.
add in, well, let's just say, okay, let's just say is a common mother. XYZ, and then I could, yeah, this is say Marchuk. And then say, okay, then say she also had another male inch, you know, and then I could,
Would it be better if I created a separate tree in Family Tree Maker with these names and as much as the accurate information as we know, and spin it off that way?
what I would do is I would do it as a research tree. Get it as
Okay.
accurate as possible. Once you're fairly, or you got as accurate, then you can export that, or you can merge that then into your main tree, but you still got to do it as, to use the simulator, everyone has to be in your tree. They don't all have to be connected, but they have to be in that one tree.
Okay, all right. So I have them connected and they are in that one tree. And I just have to kind of like
You
play
know,
with
you'd
the
break the
simulator and
connection.
stuff. Okay. You have to break the connection?
If you want to use the simulator,
Okay,
because
okay.
otherwise there's nothing for it to simulate. You know, you're basically manually moving them around in the tree to see, well, does it make sense? I mean, you can do that. The simulator is just a whole lot faster.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's just the whole thing. So,
Well, it's pretty cool.
yeah. And so, does anyone have any other questions? No? Well, if you do, just just feel free to comment on the groups. And like I said, there'll be another class, and well, this someone, and basically I'm going to be going over the same thing. It's just people might have different questions, but yeah, so in like 9 hours from now. So
I'll be
What
asleep.
time, Elise? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no. Well, I think Eileen said she will be sleeping. I think
Yes,
I'll,
sorry, yeah.
I
I'm
think
in
I'll,
Scotland.
yeah. Oh yeah,
What
you're like
time-
what, about 6? You're what, about 4 o'clock right now?
Yeah.
So.
What time at East Coast is that tonight?
Well, it's well, it's 7 o'clock my time, so it's, well, oh, actually it's 7 hours from now, so it'd be 8 p.m. your time.
Okay, okay.
So Yeah,
John,
I'll
you're
probably have to
wonderful.
take a nap. So I've been up since I've been up for 7 hours already. So I was up at 3. I've got weird sleep patterns. So
Well, you've been wonderful. Thank you.
no.
Thanks for that.
What
Steve's
part of-
still doing it.
What part of Scotland are you in, Eileen?
Glasgow.
Oh, okay.
Are you all in the US?
Yes. My grandfather was born in Greenock.
All right. Greenock.
Greenock? I'm probably pronouncing it incorrectly.
Yeah.
I'm in
Right.
Canada, Eileen. This is Jim,
I thought I heard a Canadian. Whereabouts in Canada?
on the West Coast near Vancouver.
Oh, my son's living in Vancouver now.
I'm on Vancouver Island, just across straight from, so I'm Canadian.
Yeah. And my son got married there in the summer in Tofino.
Oh, did he? Oh,
Yes.
nice choice.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
we had to join by Zoom. We couldn't go. So
Oh, too bad. Yeah.
And
John, this is Jim. I have a comment. As I work on a Mac, the only way I can get Charting Companion to recognize my CSV files is if I manually manipulate them so that I have Kit 1, Kit 2, and centimorgans in the first, second, and third columns. Pierre had said that he was going to, update that, but I haven't used a CSV file, which I haven't manipulated. So I don't know if that fix has been made yet for the Mac, but that's the only way that Charting Companion will recognize my CSV files.
oh, they don't have the let me just see something, because I've got the I've
John, I have to
Okay.
go.
Okay.
So, but thank you.
No.
I'll see you tonight.
Yep, see you tonight. I'm just checking one quick thing here, because and I don't know if I'm supposed to. And well, like I said, I don't have a Mac. I'm gonna share this. I don't know that this isn't even in beta yet. But this is the Windows version using the same engine that they used to make the Mac version. So this probably looks kind of similar to the Mac version. I'm taking it. But when you got the match files, if it loads up and says, hey, I don't recognize that file, you should be able to just click on view and be able to assign the kit number. So this one's kit 1, kit 2, here's the centimorgans. Can you not?
That hasn't worked. That hasn't worked for me, John. I have to
Okay.
open it up. I open it up in Excel, and I
Okay.
move the columns to the first, second, and third. So the first column is kit 1, second column is kit 2, and the third column is centimorgans, and that's the only way the Charting Companion runs on a Mac for me
Okay.
right now. And I'm
Okay.
using a MacBook Pro that's a year old.
Okay, well, that may be something specific to the Mac, so.
That's right.
And that I can't comment on, as I don't have the Mac, so.
Right. I just wanted to put that out for
Yeah.
the other people that are using the Mac. If they're having problems, then that's could be why.
Thank you.
No. Okay, well, yeah, that's good to know, so. Because sometimes it's like you can kind of have blinders on, so it's like, well, everyone, it just works this way for everyone. And even I know Family Tree Maker, there's just a lot of stuff's the same, but there's just a few differences that, I know someone had said they wanted to do an outline descendants report, but they were doing it for so many generations and the indentation was getting so far. And I just said, well, you can specify how much you want to indent. And well, the Windows version you can, the Mac you can't, you know. It's either, you can turn off indentation altogether, but that kind of makes it harder to read. You can't specify the number of characters it indents. The Windows version you can, Mac you can't. And I don't know, there's about half a dozen or so minor differences like that, you know. So, but anyway, well, like I said, if you got any questions, feel free to ask. So, and then, well, good. Well, I'll just end it, and then I'll post the link to this workshop. It should be a half hour to an hour, and it'll be up on YouTube, and then you can watch it whenever you want. So,
Okay.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
John.
much.
Thanks
I'll
very
be-
much.
I'll be there
Thank you,
later.
John.
yeah,
I've got lots
yeah,
to learn, so I'll be there later.
yeah. Okay.